Hey, Darvin, what did you identify as the adjustments that Warriors made, or having Steph more on the ball and having Draymond on AD, and how did you feel like you guys responded to that?
We went out again, we expected either a rotational change or expected something else from defensively, but I think the biggest thing was the rotational change. We didn't see Gary Payton II early. They started off with Jermichael bringing Looney off the bench, so we anticipated something like that. But, for us, I think just our stagnation, I felt like, I still have to go back and watch the game. But my gut feeling, my instincts tell to me that my eyes saw us settle a little bit. We mishandled the ball some early. We were right there early on, neck and neck. But a couple of possessions got away from us early, and I just thought they did a good job of crowding the paint and not allowing us, trying to prevent us from playing downhill as much, and that in turn affects what we do at the free throw line. So we'll go back to the drawing board and look at different ways we can sustain what we did well and what we've done well over the course of these first two games, and then look at what we can possibly do better.
Of course, new series now, but you lose game 2 in Memphis after winning game 1. You get back home. Is there a different type of a sense of your team, how you think that you will respond, and how different are these series than what these opponent challenges are?
And I fully anticipate our team to respond in the right way.
Darvin, 11 points tonight, 11 shots, 1 free throw attempt. What did you make of Draymond's defense against him? And you referenced crowding the paint. They obviously, anytime he was rolling or trying to catch the ball, there was 2-3 guys around him at all times.
Dre, he's going to do his work early. It's the reason why he's a perennial all defensive player. He's going to force tough catches, and when he's on the ball, he's his own ball activity second to none, and he's a good communicator when if A is not trying to go at him, we're going into a secondary action after getting the ball to A. He's great about that, whether he has to switch or talk his guy through the scenario. He's been top shelf his entire career in that regard. So again, we got to go back and look at ways we can move A around, put him in different spacing, different actions, and just try to diversify his attack.
Darvin, you guys went the entire postseason from the playing round, first round, and game 1 against Golden State without allowing 40 in a quarter, and you do it second and third quarter today. Where do you think your defense wasn't up to snuff tonight?
I just think just being ready from the ball leaving our shooters' hands, sprinting back in transition, getting matched up, communicating. You make one slip, you miss one assignment, and they're going to make you pay. And as I mentioned before, they're probably most dangerous once they give the ball up, and that's when that's when the race starts. Those guys' ability to run around on the floor and their bigs and their facilitators, guys, knowing where they can blindly throw a pass, and that pass is going to be connecting to Clay or Steph or Jordan right in their spot. And they have a lot of pride, a ton of pride. They're a championship ball club for a reason. And, after game 1, we fully anticipated them to come out and throw some haymakers, which they did. And, Clay got off. He was seeing the ball go in early and often. So, again, we got our work cut out for us. But, you don't get to this point in the season by it being easy. You have to buckle down, do your homework, look at ways, the W's and L's, the wisdom and losses, lessons, and look at ways you can get better from it and try not to make the same mistakes twice.
Darvin, I believe that this is the 16th game in the postseason now where the team that was at home and lost the first game came back and won the second game. What's that kind of say about just the postseason and the intensity of it?
It just you come in, you shift the home court advantage by being the road team, taking game 1. And again, not just you talk about different teams in this position in the position of being down 0-1 on their home floor, and let alone the defending champs. they're going to pour everything they're in not to go back to the road team's home down 0-2, and just simple mathematics. So we expected them. We expected it to be a tough series, even though we came away with game one. That was a hard-fought win, and we expected them to come out today guns blazing. So it shows you the guys' ability to the teams and the individual players, their ability to take their intensity and their focus up a notch when their back's against the wall, so to speak.
Darvin, Clay has gotten loose here in these two games. Well, what does Austin need to do defensively to try to limit the attempts? And I guess how big of a concern is that as this series moves on?
I mean, it was a concern from the outset. I mean, and not just for Austin, for our entire ball club, man. These guys, they shoot the three ball at an alarming rate, and their clip in which they make them is also alarming if you happen to try to defend it and stop it. And, many times in transition or different actions, you tend to have a late switch or early switch. You get cross-matched. So no one guy is going to stop Steph Curry or Klay Thompson. It's going to take an entire defensive unit. And, again, we just have to have a next play mentality, that energy, that effort, that urgency to make multiple efforts. Just defending through the shot clock, making sure we're not leaking out, giving them opportunities off second and third possessions, due to our lack of defensive rebounding and their offensive rebounding. So it's a ton. Again, we'll go back and look at the film and see what we can control and what we can clean up.
You mentioned your eyes earlier, telling you that, you thought you guys said a little bit. What did your eyes say about the energy level of your guys tonight?
I mean, the biggest thing I told them before was, not to fight that sensation of contentment, complacency. You know what I mean? It just, I don't know if it was that, but, you could tell they came out just ready to try to secure a game and not go back to our place down 0-2. I thought our guys were ready to compete. We didn't have enough back-to-back 3 stops in a row, 3 wholesome possessions offensively in a row. We got fragmented a little bit, but best believe we'll go back and do our preparation process, and we'll be ready to go game 3.
Darvin, you guys, I guess, got more free throw attempts in the fourth quarter, but through the first 3 quarters it was like 9 or 10 or something like that, and you took more threes than you did in game 1, but still had the majority of your shots 2-pointers. I didn't know if you had any thoughts on the discrepancy in that area between game 1 and 2.
I have zero thoughts. I get paid to coach, and I'm trying to coach my ass off for my team, and anything officials related, that's on the league to look at and try to be as fair and consistent as possible for both teams. Thanks, Coach. Yep.